All right, real quick, grab your pens and papers if you wanted to turn this listing focused set of steps into how to work with buyers. So as Traci has mentioned, if you didn't know what the acronym meant, NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. You're welcome to Google and research to your heart's content, but you don't need to because Traci's already baking NLP into any script or anything she gives you. So I'm not going to change much at all so as to not take away from the power of this. But here's what will change briefly when you're texting someone that you know in your database to be a buyer prospect and not a homeowner. So in that sentence that says, I'm a realtor with eXp Realty, and with the shifting market, this is where you just have to make your first change. And again, the kind of guidance Traci's given you is what I'm going to do here. You can make it very general. And with the shifting market, lots of home buyers are curious about how rates are affecting their buying power. Buying power is an interesting one because the average home buyer doesn't know if they have power to buy. They don't even know what that means. So it should get them curious, just as the average homeowner doesn't know their home value. It should get them curious. So if you want to just be really general, lots of home buyers are curious about how the interest rates are affecting their buying power. I'm curious, have you given any thought at all to buying a new home? And then the other point that Traci made, which I loved, people do love knowing that you understand them. People like to feel seen. So back to this slide, when you can replace luxury home sellers with the zip code they live in or the price point or the community name, right? Like it just lets them know you know a little bit more about them. Same thing with home buyers. So imagine saying lots of my first-time home buyers are curious how interest rates are affecting their buying power. Lots of my military home buyers are curious, right? Lots of my home buyers between 300 and 400,000 are curious, right? Like, so the more specifically you can kind of narrow in on their persona or their problem set, the better, right? That makes them feel seen. If no, all right. So if you get a no, have they thought about buying a home? No, I have not thought about buying a home. Okay. What are we going to offer them instead? Much like Traci, we have had a different career, but I'm going to tell you what I did, right? So Traci told you what she's done. I'm going to tell you what I did just to get buyer appointments on the reg, no matter how far out they thought they were or whether they have considered it or not. So the question was that we asked, have you given any thought to buying a new home? If no, I totally get it. I'll ask a question. How much do you know then about the process of buying a home? How much do you know about the process? That's my setup question for booking appointments always. How much do you know about the process of buying a home? And it's beautiful because no matter what they say, I know a lot, I know a little, I don't know any. No matter what they say, you get to say, great, I'd love to sit down and walk you through the process based on today's market conditions. And that's it. Even if they're thinking a ways out, that's okay. I'm just going to walk you through the process. You don't have to start it, rush it. You can take your time, but it would be really helpful to know what your buying power is. It would be really helpful to know the process. And most people that haven't thought about buying or don't know, they would like to know the process. They really would. They only have what someone told them. They only have beliefs around what they grew up knowing or what their parents' beliefs were. So I'm a big fan of any prospective buyer. I'm going to sit down with them and I'm going to talk to them about, hey, window shop. Hey, let a lender look at your credit and income. Learn what you could afford. Understand how much you'd spend if you bought, and let's compare it to the cost of renting if you don't own, or let's compare it to the cost of your current home. Okay. Appointment process is pretty much the same. I would say it's the same for a buyer or seller. You know, a couple of key pieces, again, just to restate what Traci said, is super important. If you don't keep appointments on your calendar or turn them into a concrete time, they'll probably never happen. That confirmation of text, I'm big on too, right? Like what Traci kind of told Sarah. As soon as you set the appointment on the phone, one of the first things you should do when you hang up is text them that time. And if they didn't lock down a time, then you're going to let them say no to whatever time you throw out, right? So buyer's a little different because you're not going to their house. Typically, you're going to meet them somewhere. My preferred locations for buyers personally, this is just Kirtus. I love Starbucks and coffee shops. Just a simple sit down cafe. It's casual, it's public, it's usually safe. That you do not need an office to meet them at. Don't let yourself think that. Even the average luxury buyer, back to Traci's point, they're busy. They don't have a ton of time, but they probably do drink coffee. They probably do stop by and pick something up from their local place of business. So most people will meet you somewhere public, somewhere quick. So my confirmation text usually looks something like, all right, Wendy, I'm glad you said we could meet up tomorrow. I prefer this Starbucks at this location. I'll be there tomorrow at 9. Does that work for you? I can be there tomorrow at 9. Does that work for you? So if they didn't set a time, pick a time for them and let them say, no, 9 doesn't work for me, Wendy. I'm booked all morning, but I could be there by 1. Perfect. Let's lock in 1. I'll see you then. Right. So when someone doesn't give you a time and they leave it pretty open, you try to lock it down. I'm a big fan. So again, everybody's different direction, right? So Traci has a high volume of people in her life. She needs and requires automation. She has to have people like book through her calendar so her calendar doesn't get overwhelmed. If you're not there and that's not where you're at in your business, then what I recommend is instead of giving them like work to do, which is go book on your calendar, I recommend you give them choices and let them say no. But don't like put it on them, right? So when you put it on me and say like, Kirtus, find us a time to meet. No, I'm busy too. You give me a time and I'll tell you if I can make it, right? And then I'll probably tell you a time I can meet if you give me some clarity. So I'm a big fan of proposing the time if you don't lock it in. And then confirmations before and after 100%. All right, last but not least, the be early message. This one to me for working with buyers is actually okay to be early because you're setting an appointment that's not at their house. So the reason it's not okay to be early for a seller, Traci made a very good point. You're coming in and like intruding in their life. So if you arrive 5 or 10 minutes early, as she said, she's still walking her dog, putting on her makeup, tidying up the house, doing whatever it is to be ready for you to walk in and sit in her home. But if you're meeting me at a coffee shop, absolutely you can be 10 minutes early. I hope you are to find us a table. They're very busy. If you plan to use your laptop at all in meeting with me, you need to be connected to the Wi-Fi. Don't sit there and bumble through it. It would be really cool. One of my favorite things to do, since I'm a Starbucks nut, is I have Starbucks points and blah, blah, blah. I would always text them like 30, 45 minutes away as part of my confirmation text, an hour ahead. Hey, Wendy, see you in an hour. I'm a big Starbucks points person. I'll gladly get your drink. What would you like me to have ready for you? And then you get to tell me your favorite drink from Starbucks. And so when you walk in, imagine like walking in, sitting down, you have your favorite Starbucks ready to go, smiling face and my laptop. We're going to be off to a great start. We're going to have an awesome appointment. So for buyers, I'm a big fan of being early. Same thing if you're going to be at builders. If you're meeting somebody at a builder, there was somebody here who says they're working with builders. If you're going to meet somebody at a builder, I also love being early because you never know if that builder sales rep is going to be available to walk you through the tour of that home that you plan to see. You want to like get in, shake hands, smile, have people know you when you walk in. It feels really cool when your prospective client walks up and you and the sales rep are already like buddies hanging out. It's warm, the greeting's better. So be early and you can do a lot with it when you're early with buyers. So hopefully that helps you guys all translate sort of the seller content that Traci gave you and make it more buyer specific for you all. I think that's everything. So we're 15 minutes over, team. I'm gonna let you guys go. You're probably fired up to go prospect. We'll see you Wednesday for the workshop. Happy Monday.